This episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. Whether you're packing for a vacation or dressing for a wedding, Nordstrom has head-to-toe looks for wherever summer takes you. From swimwear and bold color to romantic florals and dresses that make an entrance, find the right style for every unforgettable moment. Shop new arrivals from brands you love like Farm Rio, Free People, Vince, Wait, and Stod. Plus free shipping and returns and styling help whenever you need it make it all so easy. Shop now in stores at Nordstrom.com or download the Nordstrom app.
Girl, winter is so last season. And now spring's got you looking at pictures of tank tops with hungry eyes. Your algorithm is feeding you cutoffs. You're thirsty for the sun on your shoulders. That perfect hang on the patio sundress. Those sandals you can wear all day and all night. And you've had enough of shopping from your couch. Done hoping it looks anything like the picture when you tear open that envelope? It's time for a little in-person spring treat. It's time for a trip to Ross. Work your magic.
There is no hood like parenthood. Hi, I'm Kanika Chadda-Gupta. I'm a former CNN journalist, mom of 3, including twins, and host of That's Total Mom Sense, the podcast. Now, if I had $1 every time I heard, gee, you have your hands full. On my show, I interview change makers on their life lessons, legacy, and superpower of intuition, which I call our mom sense and dad sense. I've had the privilege of working with Mom 2.0, March of Dimes, and the White House, and have had some pretty amazing parents on my show.
Hey, what's up? I'm Kelly Rowland.
Hi, this is Chelsea Clinton. It's me, Bobby Brown. Can't wait to share my story.
That's Total Mom Sense is a production of the Evergreen Podcast Network. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube so you never miss an episode. To join my tribe, visit thatstotalmomsense.com and follow me on Instagram at Kanika Chadda Gupta. Now let's dive in to today's episode. You know how I'm always advocating for trusting your mom sense. Well, here's something my mom sense wishes I'd known when my kids were babies. There's actually an eating window, roughly 6 to 18 months, when babies are most open to new flavors and textures. Use it and you raise a worldly, adventurous eater. Miss it and you're negotiating with a 4-year-old over plain pasta for the next decade. That's exactly what Globowl is built around. It's a baby and toddler food company that makes whole meals in glass jars. Think pad thai and tikka masala, which is a household fave. These babies are introduced to diverse flavors and top allergens right from the start. And here's something I didn't know until recently. The way babies eat matters just as much as what they eat. When babies squeeze their food out of a pouch, they're actually bypassing the chewing, tasting, and oral motor development that teaches them how to eat. Spoon feeding from a jar, seeing the food, smelling it, experiencing the texture, that's how the whole learning and sensory process works. And the glass jars means 0 microplastics leaching into your baby's food, which as a mom, I care so much about. I'm so glad I got to interview the founder, Erica Bethe Levin, on how she conceptualized Globowl from a problem she faced with her 2 little leaders. And now it's here. Visit globowl.com, Globowl, and use code MOMSENSE, MOMSENSE, for 20% off. That's globowl.com and my code MOMSENSE for 20% off. Bon appetit! What if picky eating isn't something your child is born with, but it's actually something we accidentally create? Somewhere along the way, we decided that kid food should look a certain way, and it's typically bland, beige, deep fried, predictable. And then we're surprised when our kids refuse to eat anything else. Today's guest is here to completely challenge it all and help us navigate. Erica Bethe Levin is the founder of Globowl, a company redefining what kids eat from their very first bites with globally inspired meals like tikka masala and pad thai, designed to expand their palates, support gut health, and even introduce allergens early on. And what makes her perspective so powerful is her journey. She and her husband come from the world of high-end food and have deep roots in culinary culture. She has competed on Gordon Ramsay's Food Stars, and she has brought Globowl to the national stage. Allow me in welcoming my guest, Erica, to That's Total Mom Sense. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Kanika. I'm very, very happy to be here.
We are going to have fun. This is going to be a delicious conversation.
Yes, I love the puns.
Yes. So let's get started from your childhood, because I think it's important to understand how we have associations to food, why we're predisposed to some versus others, what has shaped our own palate. So take us back to those early days when you were growing up.
That's a great question. I don't usually go back that far when I'm talking to people, so I love this. I grew up in a household, I call myself a Jew-Italian. My father's Jewish, my mother's Italian, and there's actually a play called And I'm in Therapy, which is very funny because it's my mom's Italian, that's Jewish, and I'm in therapy, but which is true. So food was just such an important part of our lives. It's so culturally relevant for both my mom and my dad, and in all cultures, right? Food is so pervasive in culture. So a lot of the stories that my parents told me about our family, our ancestors, our background was through the food that we were eating. And so I always laughed, it's like I'm always eating meatballs or matzo balls, and
Yeah.
history there, and same with so many different types of cuisines. And so I had an appreciation for food and culture from the very beginning. My mom made everything from scratch. I know not everyone has time to do that, and that's a whole other discussion.
Wow.
My mom worked.
So much respect. Mm-hmm.
Yes, she worked, but she always, we didn't have canned goods, like, like jars of marinara, we made that stuff. And so it also gave me an appreciation for the act and the art of cooking. That's how I grew up. And my parents never shied away from taking us to different types of restaurants with different types of cuisine, whether it's Mexican or Indian or Korean or whatever. And I just always had such a great appreciation. And I wanted that so deeply for my kids and my family. And my husband, with his background in the culinary world and in hospitality, food was always so important to him. And so we've melded our cultures, and we teach, our kids about their backgrounds now through a lot of the stories that we tell through food. So that's the emotional tie to food, that I have, and so many people do.
Yes. And now tell us about how you're a serial entrepreneur. You've launched many businesses, and I think there's learnings in that when you really arrive upon, like, I'm meant to do this.
Yeah, I did not expect to go in this direction with my life. I studied theater. Well, I take that back a little because I am a writer and I studied journalism first, but ended up switching out into the theater track at my university. And I just, had no plans to ever start a business. I really wanted to try to make it in that world. But then when I was right after college, I went to Northwestern, and I ended up staying in Chicago forever. And what I found as a young single, like, cosmopolitan woman now, without my family around, they didn't live there. What do I do? Like, where do I go? How do I experience this city? And I ended up actually creating the very first online magazine exclusively dedicated to women in the city of Chicago. And this was before everything was digital. Like, I can't tell you, like, people would ask, and they'd be like, well, yes, a webzine. Exactly. We did like 35 articles a week, but Amazing. People would ask, like, oh, you're going to have a paper component too. I'm like, no, that's the past. We're moving towards the future. And I ran that for about 8 years. And that was, successful and very well read. And we ended up augmenting our online community offline with these really cool real world events. And so I really know this woman because kind of like the woman that I'm now catering to through Globowl is the same woman like that was a reader of, it was called Cheeky, right? I've evolved as they've evolved as well, right? So I've just always really been this woman and spoken to this woman in my jobs or in my companies. And then, the second company, I was one of the founding employees, and that was really interesting. That was in the restaurant tech space, and that sold to Resi. So it was a reservation type system, and obviously took me right back into the restaurant world again. And then I kind of said I wasn't going to do another business. It's very hard.
Yes. Oh my goodness. It takes so much out of you. And, many people say, like, a business, a book, it's like birthing a kid.
Oh, it is, right. And this is my company now, Globowl, is the only company I've birthed since actually birthing children, right? So now I'm a mom this time around. So how am I going to do this? But when this idea hit me, I'm like, this is it. This is what I have to do. I wasn't planning to do it again unless something really called to me, and this was it. So here we are, company number 3.
Yes. Oh, it's brilliant. And I think when you're called to do something, there is a grounding in a greater purpose.
Yes.
In Hindi, we call it dharma. That's your life
Oh,
purpose.
yes.
And
I
this
love
is
that.
so much part of your dharma because you
Yes.
come from the industry, and now as a mom, you understand from various angles what
Yes.
food is supposed to mean to individuals. Tell us the genesis of Globowl. How did it come to be? Because I'm sure your motherhood story informed it.
Yeah, very much so. With my son, despite all of my background in cooking and writing and food, I was very scared to give my first kid texture and flavor and spice. And I made all my own food because I'm just like that. But it was all boring, just pureed beige foods,
Right.
And I'm like, why am I doing this? I know it's not right, but I was scared. I was really scared as a new mom, very neurotic. And he just became the pickiest eater. And it was devastating for my husband and I, who just put so much emphasis on food. So with our daughter, we're not making that mistake again, sort of thing. And it was during COVID, specifically during quarantine, when we couldn't leave the house. And we're like, we're just going to give her whatever we're eating, which we did. So coconut curry was her first food with shrimp, right? Full of allergens, full of flavor,
Yes,
full of
the best.
Yes, why not? Right? Baby food has been so dumbed down over the years here in America, not everywhere.
Yes.
And we've sort of grown accustomed to thinking that that's just what babies should eat, is plain, boring mush, and that's not true. Baby food doesn't need to be dumbed down. Babies are not dumb, and they have these vast open palates that we can influence. And it's so important. So, and the reason I said it was during quarantine is this was during a time where I had no hope for my kids seeing beyond our four walls, anytime soon. So this was also a way for us to educate our children about the world through the food that we were feeding them. So we could tell them stories and show them pictures of, where the food comes from. And this is a mom over here that, serving their kid this. It served a lot of purposes for us. And we realized she loved it. She didn't turn it away. Why would she?
Wow.
Wow. So that same week I made a saffron pasta. I remember I made pesto, good old American tuna salad. These are vivid memories of what I fed her first week. And she's a great eater to this day. And so that was the genesis. And here we are, however many years later now, 5.
Wow.
4 or 5 years later.
I find that so encouraging because, now I wish I could go back in time and do the same with my kids. I had twins, and a year and a half later, I had my third. And, we have a very similar story where I gave them the bland rice cereal as their first food. And it was at first it's mixed with my breast milk. And then, if I didn't have any in the fridge, then formula and, whatever, distilled water. That was the one note bland mush that they got. And I do want to credit an amazing nanny that we had. Her name is Sindhu Didi. She's from Nepal. And she helped kind of introduce them to other things. She was like, let's give them bananas. Let's give them some protein. They can pick up eggs. And let's mash up some peanuts and give them peanut powder to lick. And I was like, oh my gosh, is this how we're supposed to do it? Because the pediatrician, she's amazing, but I'm not sure if I'm following the rules. And you just feel really worried and reticent about going that path. But then later on, when I had my third and after this show launched and I met people who are in the industry, even those who are very well-researched and at the forefront of introducing allergens early on. I had the founder of Little Mixins on, and that's, that's a, powder that has all of it. Peanut, shellfish, whatever you want. And I was like, oh my goodness, the way to actually prevent allergies, eczema is early introduction. And it was such a groundbreaking moment. And There's so many layers to this because it's not just the allergies that you're tackling, but it's the sensorial experience
Total. Thank
of,
you.
yes,
Absolutely.
picking up the food, smelling
Yes.
it, tasting it, smearing it, whatever you want to do, but use all your senses, including taste,
Right.
which we don't get to do with everything.
Yeah. Right.
That you're, hear the crunch, all of it,
Yeah.
and experience the food and experience a variety of flavors. And it's
Yes.
really up to us as parents to put that on the plate on the high chair.
100%. And, it's interesting, your friend from Nepal, right? This is a very uniquely American problem. And the reason why it seems so obvious to her, like, let's put these peanuts on, is because that is the way most of the world feeds their kids. They simply give their kids what it is that they're eating. And that's why outside of the US, you're 10 times less likely to have food allergies because you're just exposed. Yes, there's so
Right.
many studies on this. And yes, but we have somehow for the last 15, 20 years sanitized baby food of these allergens. We've sanitized them of texture, like you're talking about the sensorial aspect of it. And what we need to be doing is teaching kids these oral motor skills too. And that's all sensory, right? It's touching, it's chewing, it's all of the stuff. It's interesting. We really have a problem that's unique to us because of the way baby food really has been kind of sanitized into single-use plastic pouches. And I love what, the Little Mixins does the allergen introduction because it's so important. And I can go on and on and on and on about that. But we're the only ones doing this through like whole meals,
Ooh.
it shouldn't have to like augment our current food with this stuff. Like, why aren't we just giving kids meals?
The
Right?
actual food. Yeah. The actual peanut, the actual shrimp.
Food.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the way to do it everywhere else.
A powder form. That makes so
Yes.
much sense. And then they kind of grow into their palate in a way because, the fact that we have kids' menus and, you look at, it's like, it's the nuggets, it's the butter pasta, it's,
Yes.
the pizza. And like, that's pretty much it. And I think about that all the time. I'm like, so here I am getting salmon, broccoli, like all of these nutrient dense foods,
Yes.
and they're getting nuggets again. Like that doesn't make any sense. And their, gut microbiome is getting like formed.
Yes.
It's not like
Very much
40 years old.
Oh, I know. And there's also correlations between the gut microbiome and allergens as well, like feeding kind of the gut, right, what it needs. And I'm not a doctor, so I won't go all in on that part, but there is a correlation there between the microbiome and food allergies as well. So taking care of that gut from the very beginning and making sure that you're introducing these foods and these allergens early is, it's science, right? It is scientifically proven to reduce the likelihood of future food allergies. So, and you brought up your pediatrician as well. And it's so funny because my pediatrician happens to be a very dear friend of mine as well. And she told us, she goes, just feed them anything you're eating. And even though she is like my sorority sister, longtime friend, one of the smartest doctors I've ever met, I just couldn't as a mom do it. It just wasn't, and she also, she's like, I grew up on Indian food. I grew up on tikka masala and all this stuff. And she goes, and that's what I'm doing with my kids. And I should have been like, okay, one of my dearest friends is doing this with her family. Why can't I? But it's just because we've been so conditioned in such a way. And now that I've had 2 kids and we're able to do it differently, I realize there is a right and a wrong.
Yes.
So, it's sometimes hard because of all the constructs we've put on the way we feed babies here in the US.
Right. Tell us about Globowl. I have a few here. They're so cute. This is Pad Thai for Tots, and we have Baby Spice Bean Bowl. And these are, just an example of Thai and Latin flavors. And there's like a whole passport that you're gonna get to
You have a little
experience.
passport program.
Yes.
We're bringing the world to the kids' high chairs. We have 6 recipes right now, and they're full meals in a jar. They're not a snack. They are nutritionally balanced. So there's protein, veggies, whole grains. They were developed with a board of pediatricians and pediatric experts. And also, I worked with like really great award-winning Michelin-star chefs, so we know it tastes good. So the only thing really removed that we would want, right, is extra sodium or added sugars, but we don't want that for our children, right? So these were developed for kids kids, thinking big flavor, textures and whatnot, but still keeping it, healthy and nutritionally balanced for children. And also all the flavors come from, I have a board of chef advisors that specialize in each of the cuisines. So if I'm going to sit there and try to, introduce the world to kids and educate them about the world through food, I want it to be authentic. And so we've also worked with a lot of chefs to make sure that, the pad thai for tots feels authentic, that the baby bibimbap feels authentic. So it's been really, really fun bringing this to life and knowing that we were doing it backed by the people that I think are the most trusted,
Right.
sources for this, which is doctors and then the chefs that put those recipes into the world.
Yes.
So it's exciting.
And it's Gordon Ramsay approved. You have presented this to him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an icon.
Yes.
Tell us what that was like when you were on, national TV for many weeks. Presenting, 10 weeks. Look at that. Yeah. Look at that. Yeah. And that's, so every week you're like, okay, I got to add some newness. I got to bring my own spice and flavor, to what I'm presenting. What was that experience like?
There are really no words. It is so surreal to think about that. My son and I watched a show called Food Stars. It's on Fox and Hulu, and my son's my biggest fan. Like, kids are so good they make you feel so good. And he's like, you should be on this. You're better than that. Like, you can do the show. And I'm like, okay, honey, yeah, no problem. Months later, he's like, did you ever hear back from Gordon? I'm like, I go, no, honey, I never applied. And he's like, we're doing it right now. I mean, he was like 5. He's like, we're doing this. And I did. And literally like 2 months later, I was on a plane to London for the show. It was all very unexpected. I was a very late applicant in the game. Like, they had pretty much finished the casting, but obviously something resonated. And going to London, I didn't know if I was going for, 10 weeks or like 5 days, because it was like American Idol style to get on. We pitched to both Gordon Ramsay and Lisa Vanderpump, which we were not aware of before we got there. So it was all a surprise. I'm like, oh my God, I love Lisa. Anyway, so I had Lisa Vanderpump and Gordon Ramsay sit at a baby table and try my baby food, which is like crazy. And actually, Gordon Ramsay made a suggestion. He thought the bean bowl had too much acid in it, but we don't use any artificial preservatives. So it's old-fashioned canning process combined with like natural acids in the food. So we actually reformulated it a little bit after the show. I'm like, if Gordon Ramsay's going to tell me there's too much lime, I guess I should fix that.
Take a cue. Yeah. And I mean, to have that access and to be on that world stage.
Yes. Yeah. It was incredible. Yes.
Wow.
And to do it all in London and get to experience like another world or culture, when this is what I do, is kind of I want kids to explore the world through food. It just was very surreal. And I made it to the very end, which was great, and a lot of exposure and great for the brand. But I learned a lot too. And I made lifelong friends, and it was quite the experience. I was so tired.
Yeah, I'm sure. Because I mean, you're momming too. That's the hardest part of it, is like, when you have an idea and you're like, oh, I'm going to bring this to life, but you have 2 other humans and a partner to worry about, including yourself and your idea. So
So think of how much support I had to have to make that happen, to go over to London and like, it's support as a mom founder, right? It's so important. Whether it's the in-laws or the parents or the spouse or whatever, it takes a village for sure, especially when you're building something with a little family around you.
Yeah, exactly. From scratch. We're going to keep dropping these puns because there's
that was a good one.
Fun. Building from scratch. Tell us about the formulations of these foods, because we know that they are from countries all over the world. But the fact that they don't have the preservatives that you're going to see, and none of the, bad stuff that like we really don't want our kids ingesting and that are on the shelves everywhere.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I don't think I would be able to do this business if I wasn't a mom, because you think of things in a very different way. And one of those ways was, I'm not giving my kid crap. I'm not going to go buy something at a store that has ingredients on it I can't, pronounce, or like don't know what it is. And so it was very important to me that we had the cleanest label available, that it was possible. And the reason it took, honestly, it was 2+ years of development, is because it's very difficult to create a CPG company or a food company that's shelf stable without the use of any preservatives. Because one thing I knew as a busy mom, which I know you can appreciate, is convenience. We need convenience.
Yes.
But unfortunately, the baby food aisle today was constructed for convenience and nothing else. So how do we do convenience meets development? How are we teaching our kids how to eat? Are we, setting up their palate for success? We don't want them to be exposed to ultra processed foods and UPFs and things like that, because it tends to push them in a sweeter direction, right? Where they're accustomed to kind of that sweetness. So there's a lot going on. So it took couple years to get us to be able to formulate this so it was shelf stable for the convenience factor while not having any of those preservatives or unnatural ingredients that we didn't want. A lot of science involved. So much respect for food scientists at this point in my life. But especially the ones that care, right? Our chef developer cares so much. He's a dad and built a whole career in restaurants and worked at Charlie Trotter's and these Michelin-starred kitchens. But his passion is, creating these at-home meals that are healthy, whether it's for kids or adults. But for us, it was kids. And it's such a passion for it and was able to make it happen. And we're just, thrilled with the formulation, how it tastes, how it looks, that it's full of texture. Like kids are learning how to chew through these meals. That is so... Like when kids drink out of a pouch, which is the predominant way in which baby food exists today here, you're not learning how to chew. You're drinking your food, which we've all been advised not to do, right? True. Even as adults, don't drink juice instead of the apple. You don't drink, you want the whole nutritious fibers. You want all of that. And what happens when you drink your food is one, your tummy doesn't get the cues that it's full because it doesn't have, it's not chewing to slow that process down. Because you don't have those cues, you're consuming 2 or 3 of them at a time, which is 15, 20 grams of sugar. Even if it's natural sugar, it's still sugar, right? You've got the plastic component, you're squeezing these pouches and leaching even more plastic into them. There's just so much wrong. And so I was just trying really hard to create the most well-rounded baby food that focused not only on the ingredients and what's in there and the health factor, but also the developmental factor, and that we need to teach kids how to use a spoon. We need to teach kids how to use how to learn, chew, so that they don't develop speech delays or texture aversions. There's so much to it.
Yeah.
So all of that exists. All of the good things exist in one little jar.
That's incredible. Yeah. I love that you put so much heart and soul into it. And, for the discerning consumers, we care about that. And these are the brands that we are loyal to. I love that you mentioned just how much sugar is even in things that are natural. My husband pointed this out to the kids once when they asked him, how come we don't buy orange juice? And literally they live on their 2 drinks are milk or water. It's
same.
That's that, And he said, well, in a cup, it's like the equivalent of 6 to 8 oranges. Yes, that's right. And would you be able to peel, just imagine 6 big navel oranges in front of you and a 5-year-old, they would not be able to eat them all. And
they'd be satisfied with one.
Exactly. And in a few gulps, that's how much sugar of a rush that you're getting. So yes, we are totally on board with not only just eating naturally, but eating real food, consuming real whole food, which is great. Yes. And this has all the textures. So you're going to feel the crunch and the grittiness, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. I mean, the kinds of ingredients that are in any of our SKUs at any time would, quinoa and lentils and beans and chickpeas, and again, I should also highlight that it's all cut, right? And then blended a little bit, right? Because it's still a baby. You want that. It's like a stew-like texture.
Yes.
Yes. So they're all formulated to keep in mind that not all babies have teeth. So you can gum all of our food. It's really important, right? That's also a concern for parents. So you can gum it all, which also helps learning those important skills of chewing and those oral motor skills. So yes. So yummy, delicious ingredients, but you're not going to see, I want it to be clear, you're not going to see a whole chickpea in there.
Exactly. Yes. It's ideal for those early eaters. It's like the toddler led weaning phase.
Yes, exactly. 6 months and up, or whenever your child shows the readiness signs. It's different in every kid, but this is perfectly safe as your first food, and arguably the way most kids are fed outside the U.S.
Outside, yes, that's incredible. And I want you to speak to how they're in glass jars by design, because, you mentioned the pouches earlier. Like, I think that with so many, especially behemoth companies and factories, they opt for the microplastics because it's cheaper. And now we're ingesting the BPA, and God knows how long it stays in your system. And, kids' little tummies should not be ingesting that. So yeah, like the fact that you're sustainable in your glass jars is really commendable.
Thank you. That took a lot of work as well. I would say, making sure that these were shelf stable without artificial preservatives, and then getting it in glass. What were the biggest challenges for many reasons. But one of the biggest challenges with glass was during COVID, there was a glass shortage, and I was not. Yeah, but I wasn't going to, that was not going away. The need to have
that was core to the product.
It was a non-starter, right? That had to be. So I remember friends of ours own a martini bar. They're like, you can't do it in glass. We can't even get martini glasses. I'm like, oh. Anyway, I managed to get them, which was a thing. And I can't tell you how many weeks it took to get here from overseas. Like it was, it's a lot. I think they came from Italy originally. Now we work with a specialty glass manufacturer. And so we have much more access, and it's better now. But my point is, like, we didn't cut corners, even though it was hard and even though it was very expensive, for us to do that. But the idea, luckily we are starting to get more information, more data, more studies on microplastics. And the fact that babies' systems and organs are still developing makes microplastics even more dangerous for them, because we don't know the full effect of these things, right? So now you're introducing these toxic outside particles into a child that hasn't even fully formed yet. Like they're in organs and systems. So it's very important that kids are not exposed any more than they have to be. It's nature, right? They will, it's kind of the opposite of nature, but it is natural now in our world to have that issue. Kids are consuming like 1 million particles a week or something like that, over 1 million microplastic particles a week. It's like a credit card size amount. So it's real. It's very real. And the pouches, one, single use, it's not sustainable, and all of that is an issue. But let's just take that out of the equation. Like, I feel like most things should just be recyclable at this stage of our lives in this world.
Yes.
Take even the sustainability aspect out of it. The point is, we need to be limiting kids' exposure to these microplastics, and the entire baby food aisle is a pouch for the most part.
Yes.
Now, something I now know that I wouldn't have known 5 years ago is that the pasteurization process and the way to get these shelf-stable pouches is through heat. So now you're heating the plastic. You're putting hot.
My goodness.
Yes, it's the only way.
Yeah, vacuum sealing, heating them closed. That's awful.
Yes. So you're not only now putting hot food into plastic, so it's leaching. It's double leaching when the kids have to squeeze it. It's not like they just, they squeeze it to get it out.
Right. Yeah. So it's literally
there's got to be a change.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
There has to be a change. And I fight for that. I do a lot of advocacy work now too, because I didn't know all these issues before I started this. It's been very enlightening. Even the idea of early allergen introduction. Not every parent has access to that. Why aren't we subsidizing that? Why aren't we making it easier for kids now that it's recommended by the USDA, the American Academy of Pediatrics, all these places, these governing bodies? Why are we not making it accessible for all? Delaware actually does. They subsidize early allergen introduction. Great. That's a start. Now, how can we spread that a little bit further? So I just care so deeply about this.
Wow. That's incredible.
The added layer of like trying to fight for other companies to be doing the same thing, which from a business perspective may not even be that smart, because you want to be like, you want to stand out, but it's not about that. It's about making sure that the baby food aisle here in the United States is as healthy and nutritious and developmentally appropriate as it can possibly be.
Yes. And this is why, again, discerning parents are going to support the ethical founder, which is who you are. Yes. Tell us where we can find Globowl. Where are you currently distributing?
You can check our store locator on the website. We're sold all over the US, but not in every store, obviously. And so check that. But the easiest way is probably through our website. We're on Amazon as well, and Thrive Market. By the way, shout out to Thrive Market, where I have nothing to do with them other than we sell on their platform. But as a mom, and like you, their standards are so rigid. Like it is, if you buy from Thrive Market, that you are buying the best of the best.
That's amazing.
Yes, the list of banned ingredients. They're focused on sustainability. They're focused on really catering to parents and busy parents and being able to provide these great options. They also take WIC and SNAP, and they're just an amazing company. Very much recommend, if you are a Thrive member, you can find us on there, or become a Thrive member for any of your other needs, because it really is a great company.
Yes, yes. Free of all the toxins and chemicals that are in everything, and sustainable. I love the app, Yuka.
Yes.
Yeah, where you can check. It's like, and you will be, it's so jarring from, not just food, but like even things that are topical. You're like, oh my goodness, look at that score. So don't actually fall for the marketing. It's triggery. And you can only really get behind brands like this where it's not.
Yeah. And the other thing I'd say too, just about what we're just talking about, is some of these categorizations or seals of approval. You should maybe look at what that entails, right? It's you can go through the process and pay to be a part of, these projects or these certifications. So it's important that as a consumer, you should know what those mean. There's a nonprofit that we're a part of, but so are many big brands and small brands, called the Good Food Collective. And it's all about transparency in labels too. So I think that's so important for parents, is that so many people don't know how to read the nutrition label, right? There's limited regulations on this. So you really have to rely on the company's doing the right thing, which is crazy. I encourage a look at that as well, because it is so important for people to understand how to read these labels and what they mean, especially for kids. So.
That's so helpful. Tell us about a mom sense moment you had. And by that, I mean a time where you trusted your gut.
Oh my God. I trust my gut all the time, because I really, like, in your 20s, you're like, I don't know, that person said this, and you're just hesitant. You're not as confident. I'll give you one. It's just the thing that pops up first is my son is really young for his grade. And it was during COVID that he was like graduating from VPK, and everyone's like, yeah, he's graduating, he'll go to kindergarten. I'm like, no, something feels wrong about that. Like, it was, so I had him do VPK a second time. And I know it was the right move. Like, I didn't care what anyone said. I was like, one, with COVID, I don't even know what's going on in this world. Like, I don't need to send him into the school district without knowing what's what. And also, he was so young. And so I'm like, what, this gives me a whole other year with him. I'm going to keep him one more year. But I guess also with my daughter, that was sort of trusting my gut. Like, I screwed up the first time, like unintentionally, non-maliciously, like all of us, right?
Yeah.
Like, no one does anything like that on purpose. And I'm just going to trust my gut that my daughter can eat coconut curry. She can have this coconut allergen. She can have this shrimp, and she's going to be okay, because that's what the medicine says. And that's what the research says. So and listen, she's my best eater, and it worked out just fine for us. So those are two kind of mom sense moments, I guess.
Yes, that's so cool. And let's do a quick rapid fire to close us out. Okay, so what's one food? It's going to be really hard to choose, but one food every kid should try before the age of 2 that we might completely overlook.
Oh my gosh. Honestly, anything with any sort of spice, like I would say tacos, right? Any sort of the bean bowl actually has a little cayenne in it. It's so insignificant that the kid, it's not going to be spicy, but the palate knows it's there. And so it becomes more accepting of it the next time. So I would say anything with spices, like pesto is great. Like, kids can have garlic and basil. So I would say, those are 2 things, but there's so many more.
That's great. That's great. And I think that's something that parents definitely overlook. They are just deterred by spice for a baby. And it's like, oh no, they can actually handle it.
And if you're going to make something like applesauce, like, put cinnamon in it. Yeah. If you're going to roast some butternut squash, put some cumin and maybe also some cinnamon on it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be hard to make these introductions. It doesn't have to be like, you don't have to be a chef, like you can you can add them in simple ways.
Yes, I totally agree. What is the most overrated kids food?
Pizza. I mean, I love pizza, but like,
totally. Oh my gosh. Why is that
But
everybody's favorite food? Like I still
because
think to
everyone
like,
loves it.
yeah, you just
I
think
mean, I
to
love
like
it too.
the school, yeah, the school projects, and it's like favorite food, or like, when
Yeah.
you're writing the little questionnaire before a grade, and like
Yeah.
how
Oh,
many
yeah.
years is like favorite food pizza. But yeah.
Yes. But I'd
Maybe
argue
not
that like pizza,
anymore. Maybe it's pad thai
right.
now.
Yeah,
Thanks
that's
to
the goal.
Globowl.
That's
Yeah.
I think chicken nuggets too. I hate the idea of chicken
Yes.
nuggets. Like,
Oh,
because my son grew like that's what he wanted every night. And we bought the healthiest version of them. I tried
right.
making them.
Antibiotic free, la la la.
Yes, all of it, gluten free, the white meat only, all the
Yeah.
but it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible,
It's still
because
a
you're
deep
changing the
fried
flavor of
thing.
chicken. Yes.
Yes, 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 exactly. What is your go-to weeknight meal with your family?
I make quesadillas for the kids a lot. They really like it. And I sub in different meats and different, they like fish tacos. Like they're really into that. And then their favorite meal, which is very easy, is like teriyaki salmon, but I make the teriyaki because I want to, control what's in there, and rice and broccoli. They are obsessed. It's crazy.
Awesome.
My son, who never ate anything, now his favorite meal is teriyaki salmon. So I'm very happy. And it's super
That's
easy.
great.
Yeah.
That's great. What's one rule that you break as a mom?
Oh my God, I hate homework. I really feel like I do like push homework.
Like, go outside, go play outside.
Yeah, that's the one. That is the one. I hate it so much because they hate it and it's too much and it's like, let them be a kid and all of that.
Yeah, I'm with you. And what is a staple that's just always in your fridge that, we can take a cue from?
Milk is always in our fridge. That is one thing that I do think organic is important in a lot of ways, but not everything. But milk is something that we always buy organic because of how much they consume. And yogurt, like always, my daughter loves yogurt. And the good thing about yogurt is like, in addition to it already being really healthy, like the Greek yogurt and things like that, you can add anything into it. Like if you want to make it a dessert, you can smush up a little bit of cookie. If you want to make it healthy or also dessert, raspberries or strawberries.
Fruit, yes. Or if you want it
so-
savory, Indians do this all the time. We add cumin and salt, like Himalayan salt.
Yeah, because yogurt is used in so many different meals that, whether it's chicken or, it's great. I don't personally like it, unfortunately, but I love it for my kids. Yeah, I love it for them. Yeah.
Yeah, all the probiotics. That's great.
Yes.
And now tell us where we can find you and support you, because we are just so happy to work with Globowl in this way. And I'm glad that everyone gets to hear your founder story.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, you can find Globowl and myself, the Globowl, on pretty much everything. TikTok is Globowl Foodie. And then myself, I'm Erica Bethe with an E at the end, everywhere. And I have a Substack that I've been really passionate about called Feeding Frenzy under Erica Bethe.
Nice.
And I talk a lot about, obviously, baby food, but also food policy, advocacy stuff, how politics and food are intertwined. So I've been really passionate about that lately and would love to share it too. So
that's excellent. Yes, we will include all of that in our show notes. Thank you so much, Erica. This was such a wonderful chat and I learned a ton. And I'm just so happy that, our dinner table is going to actually have something from around the world and not be one note anymore. Thank you.
Love it. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of That's Total Mom Sense. You can listen to the audio version wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for That's Total Mom Sense. You can learn more about my guests by logging on to www.thatstotalmomsense.com. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, where I'm most active on social media. My handle is @KanikaChaddaGupta. And if you have ideas for show topics or guests you can't wait to have on the show, write to me at thatstotalmomsense@gmail.com. And lastly, please rate, review, and subscribe to That's Total Mom Sense if you haven't already. Thanks for being in my tribe.